Hey guys, Mike here, back with another Blu-ray unboxing review video. And in this installment, we're going to be taking a look at Scream Factory's first ever Blu-ray box set, the Amityville Horror Trilogy. Now, as you guys can see, this is the first Blu-ray box set that Scream Factory will be issuing, and it's going to be released on October 1st, 2013. And a little bit later on in the month, they're going to be releasing another Blu-ray box set, their very desired, sought-after Vincent Price box set. But in the meantime, this is the first box set that we're going to be looking forward to from the Scream Factory collection. And as you can see, in this one, it's going to be just the first three films, the 1979 original, followed by the 1982 sequel, and then, of course, the 1983 3D sequel. Now, let's just take a look at the packaging on this one. As you can see, this is a new custom design by artist James Davis. Many of you guys might remember that name. He's been responsible for a few other Scream Factory covers, including Phantasm 2 and the upcoming collector's edition of Assault on Precinct 13, but I really enjoy that illustration that he's got going on here. I think he's got a really cool style, and I think that this is probably the best cover that his technique and skills have been utilized on. So I really like what they did on this Amityville Horror Trilogy cover. I think it's cool. You get the fly on there. You get a really cool, blood-splattered image of the house and the windows, and then, of course, some great shots of some key cast members throughout the series. So I'll give you guys a shot of the back, where they just kind of give you a few screen grabs of each movie, some technical specs, and of course the special features that you're going to be getting. As you can see, they're all being released in individual Blu-ray cases, especially in a day and age where we're seeing so many, cardboard digipacks and Blu-rays being kept in really, less than stellar cardboard packaging where you have to slide Blu-rays in and out, causing them to maybe get scuffed or scraped. This is a really nice welcome surprise to just see, a simple box set, done the right way with individual Blu-ray cases. So again, another thumbs up for Scream Factory for keeping, solid packaging in mind. And I'll give you guys a shot of the spine. As you can see, the Amityville Horror Trilogy with a 3-disc set. That pretty much wraps it up for the exterior of the packaging. Let's take a look at the inside. And we'll just be going down the line here. As you can see, the first one is the Amityville Horror, For God's Sakes, Get Out. That great tagline from this original film. They're utilizing the one-sheet poster art, and on the back, you get some more screen grabs as well as some special features on there that I'll get into in the review section of this video. On the inside, you actually have a really cool collage of foreign poster art on there, as well as some more screen grabs and images from the film. But overall, a nice solid packaging for the first film. And of course, that's followed up by the 1982 sequel, Amityville 2: The Possession. Again, utilizing the one-sheet poster art. Really cool, very nice, drained blue look for this poster art. And again, on the back cover, you get some screen grabs. You have Burt Young there, as well as detailing the special features. And give you guys a peek of the inside. You have some more stills from the film. You have a nice family shot of the whole cast, as well as more cast members right here. I'll take out the disc on this one to show you guys some more images. As you can see, some more cast images, screen grabs from the film itself. Again, a really nice packaging. I know that this has been a really sought-after film for horror enthusiasts, especially fans of the Amityville series, so awesome to have this one in the collection. And then, of course, finally, this trilogy wraps up with Amityville 3D, which is presented here in not only 2D, but Blu-ray 3D. So this is very much equipped for all your Blu-ray 3D needs. You can not worry about those horrible red and blue glasses that we all grew up on. You have the option on here, but let's just focus in on the packaging. Again, the one-sheet art utilized again. Shot of the back, some great screen grabs there, as well as some special features. The tech specs again, detailing right there that this is Blu-ray 3D equipped. And just to give you guys a peek of the inside, you have some more poster art. Again, some foreign poster art on there. Not sure what that may be. It could be Spanish, it could be Italian. Not really too sure since I don't speak any other languages, but it's cool nonetheless that they included that. Well, that said, that pretty much wraps up the unboxing and a look at the exterior as well as the Blu-ray cases themselves. But let's go ahead and get into my actual reviews of these films. The 1979 original, The Amityville Horror, starring James Brolin and Margot Kidder, I'll admit it's never been a favorite film of mine, and throughout the years I've just never really been too impressed with it, but since I haven't watched it in many years, reviewing this box set was a real treat for me because I wanted to see if maybe time had been kinder to this film for me, and to see how it holds up, after, my first initial viewings of this. Sad to say, the film still, has the same effect for me. It's mostly a bore. There's really not much going on in this film. You have to remember that this came out in 1979, which was really just riding the coattails of this real massive success that Hollywood was riding on, of supernatural and demonic films like The Exorcist and The Omen. So The Amityville Horror, while based on somewhat true events, depending on who you talk to and what certain people believe, took the haunted house route, and it's interesting for that in itself, that it kind of is rooted in, true facts of a murder occurring at this house and whatnot. But as far as a film overall, it's just pretty boring, and I think a lot of that comes from the lack of, solid special effects. This definitely is a film that goes for less is more, but it's almost so less that when things finally do pop up and occur in this film, they're just not very effective, they're not very scary. The cast is pretty decent, although probably the leading role in this, James Brolin, who plays the father, George Lutz in this, I kind of felt like he was the anchor of it, because when he starts in, when he first is introduced in this film, he's a bit of a scumbag to begin with. You don't really get the sense that he's just like a real terrific guy. So once the house kind of has his way with him and he kind of slowly becomes becoming meaner and more aggressive, and clearly something's not right with this guy, it's kind of like, well, was he really all that different from the beginning? So there's not much of a change with his character. It felt like it just kind of seemed, what we saw of him in the first few frames. He's not an overly polite guy. Margot Kidder, who plays his wife, is great in this. She's incredibly beautiful, coming off the success of Superman at the time. I will say that the one, really, really great performance in this was the priest, and I'm failing on who the actor was in this, but he was great in this, and that was really one of the gems in this film. While it is a bit of a boring watch, it's a little dated, you still can't argue the fact that it definitely has its place in horror history. It's just not one of my favorites. But that being said, this film does come with a slew of special features from Scream Factory, including an audio commentary by Dr. Hans Holzer, who has a PhD in parapsychology. For God's Sakes, Get Out, a documentary that stars James Brolin and Margot Kidder, which is a bit of a dated documentary. I believe that it was on the previous DVD release, but it's always great that Scream Factory ported this over, because it's like a 20-minute documentary. In addition, you have a theatrical trailer and radio spots. So overall, Scream Factory definitely did a pretty solid job bringing this one to Blu-ray a second time, but of course, wrapped up in this great Amityville Horror Trilogy set, so props to them. Moving on, we have the 1982 sequel that's becoming, it's getting more talked about now, and I don't know if it's simply because of the Scream Factory box set release, but the thing that really brought this film back up on my radar was, for anybody that reads Video Watchdog, Tim Lucas's great magazine, a few months ago they actually did a cover story on Quentin Tarantino's top favorite 50 sequels, and Amityville 2: The Possession just squeaked in at the top, around the 50 or 49 mark, as one of his favorite sequels of all time, and he has some really great things to say about it, so I was really intrigued about that, and it kind of got me all the more excited to check this sequel out again, because it's been a few years. So without further ado, Amityville 2: The Possession came out in 1982, and while this is not a sequel, it's a bit of a prequel. It takes place it takes place before the Lutz family in the first film moved in, and it's really more rooted in the fact of the murders, the actual murders, the DeFeo murders that took place at the real house in Amityville, Long Island. So, with that alone, this film is definitely, takes on a bit of a different angle. The Possession, the film, while it's similar to the original Amityville Horror, it definitely, like I said, is rooted in the the real case, the real murders that took place. It's about a family that moves into this dream house, and while, they fight and they argue amongst themselves, it's only until they get to the house that things really start to escalate and the relationship between each other gets worse and worse. The son in this, Sonny, just slowly but surely becomes possessed by a demonic force living in the house, and he is just the culprit of these really heinous, evil things, including, the very talked about incestual scenes that he shares with his sister, played by Diane Franklin of TerrorVision fame, which is also out on Blu-ray, courtesy of Scream Factory. You have Burt Young of Rocky fame playing his really aggressive and mean-spirited father. What's the story with that? All the fathers in these films seem to just be assholes from the start, but I guess it's just a common character trait in the Amityville history franchise. But this film is cool. It's all, it's definitely all about the demonic possession of Sonny and all the things that he does to his family to just kind of wreak evil and, chaos throughout the household. And it's up to a priest that's called in to bless the house to, save Sonny's soul, more or less. It's a solid sequel, and I mean, if you can, depending on who you are, if you can grind your teeth or, can get through the uncomfortable moments of those incestual scenes, it's a juicy film, and I think that those incestual scenes that are very taboo, even by, 1982 standards, are even more, prevalent in 2013, which is why this is such a dirty, uncomfortable flick to watch, but it's just oh so good. I mean, there's such great, solid makeup and special effects jobs in this. The core cast is really great. Sonny, who I believe is played by a young actor by the name of Jack Magner, who shortly after this film never really returned to the showbiz scene. I don't really think he's been seen or heard of in many, many years, which is a shame because he definitely, delivers some solid acting chops in this. Again, Diane Franklin plays a sister, and she's really wonderful in this. I believe this was really her first big Hollywood movie at the time. But overall, I mean, this is a very spooky, uncomfortable, weird film, but it's great. I mean, I actually think I prefer Amityville 2 very much over the original film. So this is definitely, I would say, the crowning jewel of the Amityville Horror Trilogy set. And that said, Scream Factory has gone above and beyond and, packed this thing with a slew of special features. This could definitely be seen as a collector's edition just based on the great special features that they have on this. It includes an interview with director Damiano Damiani, who it was very fortunate that they got the interview on this disc because he just passed away this year, and he gives a short but really informative interview on this. You also have new interviews with actors Andrew Prine, Diane Franklin, and Rutanya Alda, who plays the mother in the film. You also have an audio commentary with author Alexandra Holzer, who wrote the Growing Up Haunted, a ghostly memoir. You have a theatrical trailer, and then you also have a really great interview with screenwriter Tommy Lee Wallace on it, which I think was probably my favorite featurette. I think that he just had some really great things to talk about, how he got the job, what it was like working with producer Dino De Laurentiis. That's a really great featurette. So, like I said, this is a great film. It's spooky, weird, uncomfortable. You're probably going to need a shower after you watch it, but it's a solid film, and it comes stacked with great special features. So, awesome entry. And of course, finally, you have the conclusion of this Amityville Horror Trilogy box set, and this is 1983's Amityville 3D. And like I said earlier on in the video, this is actually presented in real Blu-ray 3D as well as 2D on the same disc. So for that alone, this is really cool. In this film, this deals with bit of a news reporter, a guy that works for a magazine called Reveal, and basically very tabloidish. They're kind of, trying to pull the curtain back on people, just, kind of like the TMZ of the 1980s, if you will. So that's basically what his job is, and he, early on in the film, him and his partner, basically, bring out to light that there's a slew of people that are trying to, that are in the Amityville house, and they're trying to make people believe that there are ghosts there when there clearly isn't, yada yada. Coincidentally, this newscaster is in the market for a new house. So, long story short, he moves in and buys the Amityville house, and from there, as you can imagine, crazy, haunted hijinks occur all in fabulous 3D. This film is a cool one. I actually think it's pretty charming and fun, because this is actually the first film that was rated PG in the franchise. It's definitely lighter in tone, and you get some really cool appearances, early appearances by people like Meg Ryan and Lori Loughlin, who would of course go on to play Aunt Becky in Full House. And it's actually directed by a really solid director, Richard Fleischer, who was responsible for Disney's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. So that definitely gives this film a lot more clout, regardless of whether you think it's a solid entry in the franchise or a lame entry. You can't deny that there's some solid people working in front and behind the camera on this. Overall, I actually had a really good time with this. I feel like I never saw this film in its entirety. I know that I've seen bits and pieces of it throughout the years, but overall I thought that this was, a nice change of pace. I think that it was lighter in tone. I thought that it was pretty fun. I think that they took advantage of cheesy 3D effects really well, and Scream Factory's Blu-ray 3D Blu-ray treatment of this film is pretty remarkable. It looks really good. Now, one thing that I think is important to add, that I just hadn't seen in other earlier reviews, and like I said, the 2D and 3D versions are both available on one disc, and your TV, if you are equipped with a 3D TV and a 3D Blu-ray player, the 3D will just automatically work on itself. There's not like an option on the main menu to select 2D or 3D. If you're equipped for 3D, it's just going to work automatically. But if if you're not equipped, or if maybe at some point you just don't want to watch it with 3D, you have to go into your settings and turn off the 3D, and you can just watch it in regular 2D. It's a little confusing for me because I wasn't sure when I first popped it on if what I was actually watching was real 3D and whatnot, but I had to spend a little bit of time researching it and how it was, so I just thought that I would really make a big mention of that on this disc. On this, you get some special features. You get a theatrical trailer, and you get a pretty decent interview with Candy Clark that talks about her experiences filming it, how great it was to work with director Richard Fleischer, working on the set in Mexico City. So, it's a cool, short interview, but still, a nice featurette to have on this. And, of course, just the inclusion of Blu-ray 3D on this is really great. All three of the films actually look pretty decent as far as video representation look. These are older films, and in the case of 1979's Amityville Horror, you definitely have more scratches and debris on the frames than Amityville 2 or 3, but that's not to say that it's bad. I feel like it's probably the same transfer that was, issued on the MGM Blu-ray a few years back. And the second and third ones do have cases of dirt and debris, but it's nothing that's really distracting to the overall viewing experience, so there's nothing to worry about. Grain levels look good, flesh tones look great, the black levels look good, so overall, it looks, all three of the films do look really solid. They sound really good. I mean, when there's jump scares and stuff that it's meant to scare the crap out of you, you're going to hear that through your speakers, and it's going to come across loud and crisp. So as far as audio and visual, these all really get passing colors, so, definitely buy with confidence if you're worried about that. These do look and sound great. So overall, guys, that wraps up my Amityville Horror Trilogy Blu-ray unboxing and review. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Be sure to comment and subscribe, and pre-order this because the release date is October 1st, so it's coming up, so definitely secure your copy today. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys in another Blu-ray unboxing and review video. Later.